Today we are going to look at this very small and simple device. It is so easy to use. The Canon Vixia HF R800 HD camcorder. It takes almost no thought. The learning curve on this thing I think is about less than a minute, which is important because a lot of these cameras get pretty tricky. Okay, let's go down here to this cool little spot I really like. See how it compares to the other guys, the big boys. Let's compare these three cameras. Let's compare this here to the Canon Rebel T7i. Now this is with the T7i, however this is not the stock T7i. I'm using the 24mm f2.8. So this is quite an upgraded lens, so this image should be a lot sharper, but I still want to give you an idea of what it's like. And again, this is going to be in full auto mode. And with the point and shoot that's in a similar price range as this guy here, around the 200 to 250 range. Okay, so now I'm using the Canon Powershot Sx 530HS. Now this does not have the flip out screen where I can see what I'm doing, so hopefully I'm fairly centered. It's a very small, very simple little camcorder, around the $200 range. First, we can open and close the lens cap here, very simple. It's got a flip out touch screen, powers it on and off when you flip it out. Memory card, holds a bunch of different types of memory cards. I'm just using a standard SD card. In here you have a mic port, you got an HDMI, you've got headphone jack here. Just a very simple device. Oh, and it's got the rotating touchscreen, so you can vlog with it. All very simple, very cool features. Here's some of the things they advertise on it. 1080p, the recording on it's 1080p, 60 frames a second. Good image stabilization, all this kind of cool stuff. Let's put it to the test here. So let's see some actual video with it. Let's come in a little bit here. See how it picks up on the shade and the different lighting situations in here. This thing is just really easy to use. Small, compact, with that zoom. It's easy to flip around, it's easy to do a lot of things with. One of the things that just happened to me though is I was using a slow speed SD card. It just stopped recording. It said the write speed was too slow. So you need a high speed SD card to record at 60 frames a second. And since I have upped the brightness of the LCD screen, even in direct sunlight, I'm having no problem seeing it. So that was something I was worried about. Another issue I have with this thing is that it won't record with any of my mics that I have. In order to use an external mic on this, the external mic needs to be powered, which kind of sucks. I was hoping I could use what I have, so I'm not going to be able to do that. The video quality, here's your options. You've got 60 frames a second, which is nice. Just high quality, standard 1080p. And then here's full HD, which I believe that's going to drop to 720p. And then down here, I don't even know what that is. I would never shoot at that, so I'm not even going to mess with that. It says long play. Okay, another nice feature I like about this is that it does have a variable zoom. Now the zoom is located on top of the little camcorder. Up top right here is your zoom in, zoom out. And it's a little tricky to hold. I'm not quite comfortable with it yet with the strap up on my hand. This works pretty well. I notice I do have some issues occasionally messing around with this. This gets a little awkward in my hand. But overall it's pretty comfortable. It's very small, very lightweight, very easy to use. It's got a variable zoom, which is nice. So you can go with that really slow zoom, or you can zip in pretty quickly. Here, let me show you. So that's a pretty quick zoom. Now for the really slow zoom out. So it's a variable zoom that's all predicated on how much pressure you put on this little slider up top here. Very nice. So again, I can zoom in super slow, or I can speed it up. So another nice feature to this little guy is that when it's charging, when you have it plugged into the wall to the, what is it, the AC power supply, I believe it's called, you can use it. So if you are in a situation where you want to put it on a tripod, you can plug it in and not have to worry about the battery. You can run it strictly off from the power. So the way that it charges is through a little charging port on the side. Even though the battery can detach it, you can buy an external battery charger if you want to take the battery off and charge it that way. But I found that out instantly right out of the box. The battery is pretty dead. I plugged it in and it worked. And when I unplugged it and tried to use it, it didn't work. The battery takes 8 hours to fully charge. That's a long time. So so the plus to that is that you can use it when it's plugged into the wall. The minus is that the battery life isn't fantastic and it takes 8 hours to charge. Again, these are all going to be in auto mode. I'm not going to mess around with all the different modes. I can make them look any way I want. We're going to do this all in auto mode. And all three of them are Canon, so they should be fairly similar. Alright, I don't know. Well, let's see. Okay, so this is the Vixia HF R800. Okay, we just came up here, but I want to come up here, get in. I'm going to kind of go through this here. Alright, let's see what we got here. Let's see the detail in the shade. How's it looking? Alright, this is a cool little, let's see what kind of detail we're getting. We got a little spider in here. Nice. Okay, now we'll come up here and let's cross the bridge. This will also give you a chance to check out the image stabilization. Check out this cool bench. And we're almost across, and then let's take a peek at this guy here. Alright, let's see here. And we're gonna call it there. Now let's try the let's go to the T7i now. Let's get that out so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's come on up here. Get in on this guy. Alright, now we're coming up here. Now this has minimal stabilization, the T7i. But the picture quality is probably going to be a lot sharper. Actually, I'm pretty positive of that. Quite a bit different, I'd imagine. But they are two totally different devices with about a $700 gap in price. Alright, let's try the point and shoot now. And this is their point and shoot that's a little bit more than the Vixia, but this has a very long zoom as well. And of course I'm getting some mixed sun here, but let's check this out real quick. Okay, this is definitely more of a camera geared towards photo, but it does take video, so it's fair to compare. And of course the light just changed drastically, so sorry, you are at a disadvantage, little point and shoot camera. Okay, let's take a look here. And let's come on down. Oh, here we go, the sun's back out over here. And kind of give you an idea. And this one is also not touchscreen. This the SX530HS is not a touchscreen. Okay, so there you go. That's the comparison of the three. And again, this one is the SX530. So I just wanted to do that to give you an idea of what you're, you know, because everybody wants to compare. So okay, so let's wrap this up. My final thoughts about this camera are, one, it's a pretty good value in terms of, for $200 you get a pretty decent image. It's super easy to use, which is always a big bonus for me. I can't stress how important it is for beginners, especially, to have something that's easy to use. It's really inexpensive, so that's super important. And then a couple other things I really got to note on: the image is fairly soft. So if you are somebody who's coming from a high-end DSLR or something like that, you will notice a difference. But if you're somebody coming from you know, a little point and shoot or something, I think you're going to be really happy with this. It's definitely not going to be a replacement for, let's say, that T7i that I like to use. However, it's so small and portable and easy to use that I could definitely see taking this more places than I could see taking the T7i. The image stabilization on it is fantastic. I love the fact that it can take photos, it can zoom in. Now, you're not going to get a lot of bokeh or any, you know, any kind of professional photography type photos, you know what I mean. But you're going to be able to get decent photos. But that's not why you buy a camcorder. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. A couple other notes I want to make of this thing. The microphone is right up front here, underneath, directly underneath the lens. So you're talking directly into the microphone, which is nice. Like I said before, the 57x zoom and the 32x optical zoom are pretty nice, but then there's that weird 1154 times zoom that is total garbage. It does have some filters on it that you know, I didn't find much use for. With all that said, overall, only because the mic port requires a powered mic, which is a pain in the butt, and I don't have one, I'd give this thing an overall grade of a B for what I would use it for, practicality wise. But I could definitely see some really good uses for this. So